And it's like you were saying, it is global. I mean, even the World Health Organization came out with documentation talking about the stigma, showing the research of the rise of xenophobia, anti-Asian racism behavior happening all over. Have you found the church, and I'm speaking specifically about the white evangelical church, have they been helpful in talking about this issue?
I think some segments are. So what happened is I've been actually, while I've been really discouraged by and actually traumatized by reading, so we have thousands of incidents of anti-Asian hate. And I see what people yell at us. I see how they throw rocks and bottles at us. I see how they attack our elderly and babies. People really bullies attack vulnerable people. So I see that. And I see the policies that are enacted against us, immigration bans, cuts to refugee, cuts to our forms of communication like WeChat, cuts to racial sensitivity trainings. I actually was banned from my talks because I talk about this, right? So
Really?
I had a contract cut. A speech I was going to give was actually canceled. So all these policies come along with the racist interpersonal attacks. That's been our history in Asian America. But whenever, so history is repeating itself, right? The epidemic comes, we're met with interpersonal violence and racist policies. But history repeats itself in that every time Asian Americans were met with racism, they fought against it. And that's been repeated this time too. I've really seen the Asian American community stand up against the racism we're experiencing. And one place that I saw Asian Americans stand up was through the church. So there's a group called the Asian American Christian Collaborative. I helped to draft some of the opening statements. For me, it's the broadest ecumenical movement of Asian Americans that I've
Oh,
seen in my lifetime. So they got over, I don't know, 12,000 signatures from both mainline, Catholic, evangelicals. And I was really stunned at the support of this group that primarily came about to fight racism against Asians during COVID-19. They got a lot of support from the Asian American community, and then they got a lot of support from other communities of color, and then they got a lot of support from white churches. And so I think that's one really good model and example of the church really rallying together to fight racism. And then in turn, we launched that March, April, and then George Floyd killings came, right? And so that group really pivoted and said, well, that's wrong. That's not God's will or plan. And so there were a lot of Asian Christians for Black Lives Matter parades and rallies and prayer times. And I think, so I've seen a lot of solidarity during COVID and this summer of racial unrest. And I've seen a lot of support from other people.
yeah, I think what's been, even though there's been a lot of obviously hate and incitement towards violence on social media channels, what has been nice is some of these campaigns, I think of like Stop the Hate, and how people of color are coming together to address social inequities, this violence, and these campaigns, like you just mentioned, you're just bringing more attention to it, making sure that churches know about it, how to deal with it. So I'm really glad to hear about some of the partnerships with churches that are signing on to this document to address it. Hey, thank you so much for checking out this video clip from the Delgado podcast. To get more videos like this, simply subscribe here on YouTube. You can also download the full episode of each show on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or your favorite podcast player. Take care.